All right, everybody, what is going on? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. And I know that we are now a couple days removed from the NFL revealing the schedules, and pretty much everybody that follows off-season football in any capacity pretty much knows what the score is, pretty much knows what's going on. I've made a couple videos on it now. I did a whole stream about it with Brandon yesterday, but I want to go over a couple of last kind of notes concerning this schedule and a couple of factors, two different things actually that aren't immediately readily obvious, but when you actually factor it in, indicates this schedule might be more favorable for the Seahawks than even we thought. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks, and we got two different things I want to look at here. And if you've been plugged into Seahawks stuff over the last couple days, you've probably already seen this. But the first thing here is what is called the net rest differential. And basically what this is you understand going into each game. You can look at the schedule, just the Seahawks schedule, and you can see how many days of rest they have between each game, right? But you only have half the picture from that because there's also a question of, well, how many days of rest did the team that you're playing have before that game? You can have 10 days of rest, but if the other team has 14 days of rest, you're in a worse spot than they are. You can have 6 days of rest, but if the other team has 4 or 5, then you're at an advantage, even though at first blush, you're at a disadvantage because you have less than the week of time. So what this chart does, and this is from Arif Hassan. By the way, there are a couple different ways to calculate this, but I believe that Hassan does it probably the best way. But the idea is every time your team gets an extra day of rest over the team they're playing, it's a +1. And every time you lose a day of rest compared to the team you're playing that week, it's a -1. So, for instance, on this chart, if you take a look at it, the Bears are the team that is best off in terms of rest differential for the 2026 season. They have 15 days of additional rest compared to their opponent over the course of their 17-game season. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because the Seahawks actually do quite well in this metric for 2026. They are +8. By the way, the half games are because sometimes it's not entirely clear. Like you have night games, you have TBAs, you have certain things going on that you're not 100% sure about. But Seattle is at +8. There are only 6 teams with more than +8. Chicago, Buffalo, Dallas, Washington, New England, Carolina. That's it. So Seattle's one of the most fortunate teams in the league in terms of having favorable rest day situations in the head-to-head. And this is also notable because if you look at the rest of the division, it's not quite so good. The Cardinals are +1, the 49ers are neutral, and the Rams are -6. So we're doing the best in our division in this metric, and that's got to count for something. If you like sports, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using the PrizePicks app, where it always feels good to be right. PrizePicks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, and obviously we are now firmly into the NFL offseason, so we're all about baseball. We got some basketball, we got some hockey, whatever it is you like. PrizePicks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. Definitely make sure to use the promo code HMA. PrizePicks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you use that promo code, that is HMA. I've had a great time on PrizePicks so far, so definitely get on over to it, check it out, and make sure to get your lineups. And don't forget about team picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So download the app now, use HMA, and get on over to Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. So that's one area where the Seahawks are doing well. And by the way, the Seahawks did pretty well in this category last year as well. I think they were somewhere around the same range, but I believe they're actually a little bit better off this year. So, yes, in terms of the opponents we're playing, the schedule is not so easy, but this kind of stuff matters. This kind of stuff adds up over the course of a season. And the second thing I want to look at here before we get out of here, this is from Adam Schefter, but this tweet is from Steel City Underground. And this we've known for a while, but I haven't really talked about it, and it's worth going over. So these are the number of miles traveled for road games per team in 2026. And the Seahawks are just barely in the top 10. So they are above average, but not really by that much. And that's not common for this team. If you know, you know. We usually travel a ton. In fact, most years, the Seahawks rank like number 1 or number 2 in miles traveled because they play in the Pacific Northwest. The teams they play are not that close to them. They don't have a neighbor that is a couple hundred miles away. They have to do some serious travel to get to these games, especially the East Coast games. Typically, they travel more than just about any other team, but this year there are 9 teams that travel more, which is a lot better. Obviously, a big reason why this is because we don't have the international game this year. We don't have to go to Australia. We don't have to go to Europe. We don't have to go to Mexico. And I know Mexico's not super far away, but this is still, it adds up to the point where we're not barely even top 10 now. And that's got to play to your advantage as well. If you are thinking about this team, traveling those really long distances is not fun. Like the 49ers, with everything that is working against them this year in terms of like having older players that are injury prone and all the things they're thinking about, you think they're happy about ranking number 1 by far in miles traveled? That's something that adds up over the course of the season, and I'm sure they're not happy about it. Maybe part of them's happy that they're getting to play international games because there is, I think, there is a little bit of a thrill in getting to play overseas like that. But I think that the 49ers would much prefer to actually have a more manageable travel schedule this year. And the Rams, by the way, are number 2. So the division is getting pounded a little bit here. The only team in the division doing well is the Cardinals. And until the Cardinals start winning some games and start posing a real threat within the division, it's whatever advantages they may or may not get in things like this. Like, it doesn't feel like it matters that much. It just doesn't feel like I don't have to worry about it that much until we've beaten them, what, 9 times in a row, I think? I think it's 9 times in a row. So it's hard for me to really get twisted up about anything when we've got that in our back pocket. And if they have a little bit of an advantage in miles traveled for road games this year, then great, but I don't think that's going to make them better. In fact, as most people have seen, the Seahawks the Cardinals are underdogs in every game they play this year, including 7-point or more underdogs in their first 11 games. So, traveling, an easy travel schedule is not going to help them. Okay, so I just wanted to go over those 2 things. Because, yeah, in some areas, the Seahawks schedule looks tough, but there are also some areas where it actually looks very favorable. And these are 2 of them, man. These are 2 really good metrics that I think mean something. All right. Don't know if I'm going to post another video later today. We'll see if anything happens or anything pops up, but I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks.